Hi, Leah. My name is Lorelei Fenton, or Ms. Fenton, if you'd like to call me that, and I'm one of the tutors here on Wyzant. So I'm going to address your question here today, and I've made myself, as you can see, a little visual. You really want to make yourself a visual when it comes to geometry. So, and you don't have to be perfect about it, but you do want to think so you don't get confused. You do want to kind of make some sense about how you make your visual. It certainly doesn't have to be exactly to the right scale. So, as you can see here, I made my visual where I had C is the largest angle. You could see that's the biggest angle right here, C, because that is in fact the case because everything else is a portion of C. So everything else, if it's a portion of C, it's not the whole of C or it's not more than C, I know it's got to be smaller. Then I said to myself, well, the greater portion of the rest of it, the greater angle of the rest of it, 3/4 is more than a half. So I gave 3/4 angle over here because that's the bigger angle there. And I gave a half over here with the A because that's the bigger angle there. So just a little note about how you want to make your visuals. You really want to make a visual when you come up against this stuff because it really helps you. And see if you can, kind of make it somewhat to scale just for your own head, right? So now I want to say A is half of C. Well, what's half of 80? What is half of 80? Well, I happen to know what half of 80 is, but you may not know that if you don't know all of your arithmetic facts yet. But I do know, I think probably by fifth grade, you do know that half of 8 is 4. So we know half of 8 is 4. Now, here's a little trick for you. Trying to get into here. Half of 8 is 4. Whoops. I don't know what happened there. Hold on. Okay, so half of 8 is 4. So now what do we do? Well, there's a 0 on the end. The interesting little trick is here that anytime you have a 0 on the end of something, if you have a number and you have a 0 on the end and you need a portion of it, you can take that portion, which is take the 8, cut it in half and get a 4, and now you can just add a 0 on the end. 1 0 because there's 1 0 there. That's how I know I can add 1 0 because there's 1 0 there. If it was 800, I would add 2 zeros. If it was 8,000, I would add 3 zeros. So there's a nice little trick for you. So now we know that that makes sense to you, doesn't it? Half of 80 is 40. That makes sense, doesn't it? So we know that the A angle is 40. But now we got to look at the B angle. Well, let's come over here for a second. So we know that the B angle is 3/4 of C. Well, we know that half of C is 40. So we got half already. And if we have 3/4, we have a half plus a quarter. In other words, if you cut something in half, that's 2/4. So that's a half. Okay, it's the same as 2/4. So we already have a half there, which is 2/4. So now we need just 1/4. Let's go 1/4 C. Now, what is 1/4 C? Well, 1/4 C, we can cut it in 4 now. We can go to that 8. We can cut it in 4 with that same little trick I taught you. Well, what's 1/4 of an 8? Let's see. I think it's 2, 4, 6, 8. So 2 is 1/4 of 8, right? 2, because if you got 2, 4, 6, 8, that comes up with 8. So 2 is my first number. And I look there and I see that I have a 0. So 1 0. So I put that 0 there. So now we have to say, let's go to the next line and go 40 plus 20 equals, because you got a quarter plus a half, 60. So now we have the answer for B. 60 is what B is, 40 is what A is, and 80 is what C is. And interestingly enough, that all adds up to 160, which is how much you have to have in any triangle. But that's another story that might get a little ahead of you, but just so you know. So wonderful to talk with you, Leah. Good luck to you. Have a beautiful day. And, keep on learning. Take care.